What's up, everybody? This is the Thomas Take. Ryan Thomas back on the mic for another edition of the Thomas Take, another part of the 300th show. The 300th show is also debuting on Grandstand Sports Network, and I am reaching my limit, man. I worked a long day today, ironed out the details of this show, and it's been fun, to say the least. Thank you for joining me tonight. The debut on Grandstand Sports Network, very excited for that. Also, I want to talk about the fact that I've covered a wide variety of topics tonight between football, MMA, baseball. Now I want to switch to hockey. And hockey is a sport that I really don't talk about enough. I really don't. I really don't talk about hockey enough. And one of the reasons why is because I am from Buffalo. And right now the Buffalo Sabres have been so bad that I don't even know, I can't even talk about it. But for the sake of the podcast, I'm going to put a certain spin on this. I already have. This is Jack Eichel and the Buffalo Sabres. So I'm looking at stats, as I often do, and I'm seeing that Jack Eichel is having a somewhat decent year. 2017, 2018, 47 games played, 19 goals, 26 assists, 45 points, but a plus-minus point differential of negative 15, minus 15. Austin Matthews, who is often looked at as the second coming of Jesus Christ, 39 games played, 21 goals, 15 assists, 36 points, with a plus 15 plus-minus differential. So that tells a sign to me. Obviously, Jack Eichel's played more games. Matthews might have missed some time due to injury. I'm not exactly sure. Following the Toronto Maple Leafs isn't the highest thing on my to-do list, but he's got a plus 15. And Jack Eichel has a minus 15. And Eichel has 11 more assists and 9 more points. Matthews has 2 more goals. Eichel's played in 8 more games. So, if Jack Eichel just had some talent around him, his numbers would be exponentially better. And people say, well, the Sabres have so much talent. There's some lazy talent mixed in there. Ryan O'Reilly, lazy. Evander Kane's had some issues, I like Evander Kane as a player, but I do see him getting shipped out of Buffalo at some point. Hate to say it, but I really do. I just see that as a foregone conclusion at this point. And there might be more reasons why to that than what I know, because all I know is that I see him hustle and I see him play hard, but there's got to be more to it. And that is what the question is. What is wrong with the Buffalo Sabres? There's a lot of questions to that, not a lot of answers. Even the most, diehard hockey fans that I know, diehard Sabres fans that I know, if I would have asked my good buddy Mike Costello, if I would have asked him, what is wrong with the Sabres? He gives me a few things. He says their defense, they don't play with heart, they don't go after it. But they have retooled their team so many times within the last 5-6 years. I honestly think it's a chemistry issue. I honestly think it is the fact that there is so much young talent on this team that it will not mesh well with a coach that doesn't tolerate any bullshit. And I'm talking about Phil Housley. I love Phil Housley. I would vote Phil Housley for mayor of Buffalo. I loved that fit. I thought it was awesome that they brought him back into the fold, a former Sabre, a guy like Phil Housley, a hockey Hall of Famer, a long-time NHL player. I think he spent 20 years in the CHL. So I really, really admire him for what he's done as a coach, for what he's done for USA Hockey. Phil Housley's been great. I was very happy that they got Housley, in the building. But it's not leading to results. And I'm not blaming Housley for that. I'm not going to, because Housley's brand new. He just got here. He wasn't part of the problem that led the Sabres to hire Housley. He was the guy that kind of joined the team as they were a problem. So This isn't his shit show, so to speak. This is him joining the shit show. And I'm not willing to throw him under the bus when there's so many people that are. I'm not going to say it's Housley. I think that this dude deserves a lot more time than that, than one season. Come on now. So, now that I got that out of the way, Sam Reinhart has been somewhat of a bust, in terms of his production. Matt Molson's playing in the AHL. There's been some bad moves here by the Sabres. There's been some moves that have not panned out. And realistically, if I'm Jack Eichel and I'm looking around, I would be demanding that the Buffalo Sabres come the 2018-2019 season bring them all up. Brendan Gooley, Casey Middlestat, the C.J. Smith from Rochester, bring them all up. Bring up all the young guys. Let's go. Let's really go after this. Let's get some hunger on this team. And obviously get your role guys. The defense is bad. Mike is 100% right when he tells me that. Scandella has been a bit of a miss. Josh Georges is 58 years old. I mean, they have a hodgepodge group of defensemen on this team that are not making them any better. The worst part is the Buffalo Sabres fans deserve so much better. They really do. They deserve everything. The Buffalo fans in general deserve everything. They show up, whether it be the KeyBank Center or the New Era Field, they show up. And honestly, it is an emotional thing for me because the moment the Bills made the playoffs, you think about the people that are no longer here to see it, and you'll think the same thing for the Sabres. When the time comes and they do win a Stanley Cup, which I believe they will at some point, there'll be people that didn't have the privilege to see it, and that hurts. That sucks. That happens in every sport, but I don't know. Buffalo is just a special place. There's really no place like it. There's no place I'd rather, grow up than this place. It's a great place to grow up. I don't know if this is a great place to start a family and all that stuff, but what I do know is that this is a great sports town. And there's certain suburbs of Western New York that are fantastic. Amherst, Williamsville area, Clarence, Orchard Park, Hamburg, and then there's some that aren't so great. Some that do have crime and things like that, like Niagara Falls and and a few other areas. Not to throw any shade on anyone, but they are all very supportive of this team, and the fact that this team hasn't gotten any better is no coincidence to the fact that 10 years ago they threw their team away just as quick as they built it. And I hate to go back that far, but ever since that moment, June 1st, July 1st, one of the two. It's free agency day. You got Danny Briere, you got Chris Jury, you got Thomas Vanek, free agents, restricted free agent in Vanek. But Briere and Jury were gone as soon as I got out of my buddy Tom's pool that day. We go swimming. I'm in high school at the time. I think I'm a freshman going into my sophomore year, not to date myself, but a freshman going into my sophomore year, and we get in the pool, and at that time, Briere, Jury, and Vanek are technically still Sabres. The Sabres are favored to bring them back. By the time we get out, all three of them were actually gone. Vanek was signed to an offer sheet from the Oilers, and Briere and Jury were still actually up for grabs. The first guy to get signed, I believe, was Vanek. And Briere has actually been very candid in some interviews stating that why did they bring back Thomas Vanek instead of Briere and Jury? Why didn't they bring back Briere, Jury, and then let Vanek go and acquire draft picks, which is what they would have gotten from the Oilers if the Oilers were looking to get Vanek? It's just a mess, and it's trickled down. It has trickled down to this very moment. We've had shoddy, coaches that don't belong. Lindy Ruff was great, but his time, as it does for every coach that's in one place for too long, the time always comes for you to start fresh. And we've had guys like Ron Rolston. We've had guys like Ted Nolan, who I love me some Ted Nolan, but they sabotaged Ted Nolan. They brought him in, expected the world, in terms of development, but put nothing around him in terms of a team. They were literally just losing game after game after game. So I hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel for this team. I really do. I do like the direction that they're going in as far as Jason Bottrill and Phil Housley. But bring up the young guns. Why not? I'm Ryan Thomas. Take care, everybody.